the meeting to order. Today is Thursday, August 2025. It is 7 PM. And we'll call this meeting of the Bristol Town Council to order. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Happy birthday, you lead us tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Start off with roll call. Start to my left, Doug Smith. Here. Dean Renfro. Here. Kathy Burke.
Here.
Greg Tuholsky.
Here.
Jeff Beachy's here. Town Marshal Steve Pring.
Here.
Legal Counsel Alex Bowman. Here. Fire Chief, Assistant Fire Chief Jimmy Haynes. Here. Town Manager Mike Yoder.
Present.
Clerk Treasurer Kathy Antonelli.
Here.
Good evening, all. Okay. Let's jump into the agenda. Everybody had a chance to review the agenda?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Any additions or corrections that need to be added or made? Okay, seeing none, the agenda will stand as published. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the invoices. Everybody had a chance to review the invoices?
Yes.
Okay, any questions on those? Okay, if not, is there a motion to approve the invoices?
I'll make a motion to approve the invoices.
Okay, motion to approve by Doug,
I'll second.
second by Kathy. Open for discussion. No further discussion, take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Tuholsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is a yes. Motion carries. Okay, first item on the agenda is planning and development items. We're looking at the Wilhelm Farm rezoning ordinance. So we'll turn the microphone over to Danny, right? Daniel, sorry.
No, that's okay. Good evening, Danielle Richards, Elbert County Planning Department. Yes, we are here for the proposed rezoning of the Wilhelm Farm from A1 to M1. Just a little bit of history on the properties. There was in 2024 a rezoning from A1 to M2 that had a recommendation of denial from the Plan Department, and then that February, this town council also denied that rezoning from A1 to M2. So this is coming to you again, only to M1 instead of M2. Planning Commission had unanimous vote for recommendation of denial. Staff is also recommending denial. There were a few remonstrators present. The biggest concerns are the negative impacts for the existing manufacturing areas that are already there for the existing residences. Also, the negative impacts on the property values for the existing residences to the south on County Road 14 and the residents that would be completely surrounded by manufacturing there on County Road 23. Another thing that was brought up from Plan Commission is the heavy truck impact on the county road. And it not being able to handle that along with it causing issues, safety issues for the residences along that road. So staff would be supportive of more of a DPUD, maybe a mixed use with B3, something in that nature, to get business in, but not so much manufacturing. So do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, you mentioned the impact on a county road. Do you know which county road they were talking about?
County Road 23, because the properties are bordered north and south of that sharp curve there
Right.
on 23, so that's where the concern was for truck traffic through there.
Yeah. What is that road on the south side of that? North side of the property?
There is on the north side,
That's the industrial park.
Industrial Park?
Belmont, in the street.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
So if it were, you're recommending a DPUD or a PUD?
DPUD with more of like a residential and commercial mixed use to bring in not only business for the town, but also more residential living space for people who work here and live here.
Okay. If it was a PUD, it could potentially be all M1 though, correct?
A DPUD could still be on one, yeah,
Okay.
correct.
Okay. Other questions?
So the difference between a DPUD and a PUD is,
Well, a DPUD is a detailed plan unit development,
okay,
which is what it would come in at. A general is kind of the first steps, but we think the idea is that you want some business or some sort of, to generate jobs. So we
Mhm.
understand it wouldn't be probably a GPUD or PUD would come in straight with a detail.
okay.
The only comment I would make is the planning staff did not have access to the watershed study that we just completed, which pretty much eliminates the possibility of any kind of density, any sort of residential in that area. So it's going to be a lower density manufacturing works the best for stormwater containment in that area. The staff didn't have access to that report at that time.
Yeah.
Mm.
And our, what's our plan that we're looking at out there?
The
Comprehensive plan.
is for employment district, which is M zones.
Yeah.
We have employment districts and we have business districts, so that was imagined as an employment district, continuing the development that's to the north, Valmont, and north on south.
Yeah. Did the plan commission take into consideration our comprehensive plan?
I can't speak to it if they looked at it or not.
Okay,
I know we looked at it, while we were making our staff report, and we understand the need for business. It was just also trying to protect those surrounded existing residences.
Yeah.
Because, we, in our town or our county comprehensive plan, it is stated not to have them get surrounded completely by manufacturing.
okay. Okay.
Ready for Ryan?
Yeah. You can change to you?
Yes.
Hi, Ryan White here, Pinnacle Properties, the owner's representative. The thought behind the straight manufacturing, and I heard the comments in the previous planning, meeting a couple months or a month ago. We'll get leads through the state or site selectors that are looking for manufacturing sites with a lot of acreage, like 100+ acres. And there aren't a lot in Elkhart County. The issue becomes is that they need utilities, meaning like town water and sewer, and then they also need electric. And then the other thing is the zoning becomes like the third or fourth thing that they ask about. And they typically, they're under a timeline. They can't investigate the time and money to rezone a property or wait for a PUD process to figure out if that site works or not. So the only sites they typically are looking at are ones that are already rezoned because it saves that step. They know then we can hand the zoning ordinance and say, look, this is what you're required to do. Here are the restrictions, here's the buffer against residential. I hear the comment about County Road 23, and even for manufacturers, they wouldn't want to use County Road 23, an industrial engineered road would need to go onto that site. So in order for something like that to happen, I mean, we'd be working with the town, we'd be working with the county, it'd still have to go through tech review. There's all these other things you would have to figure out, the road and infrastructure and all of that, and County Road 23 wouldn't support it. So they would probably see a new road coming through there that would be moving away from the residential.
Maybe have questions for Ryan?
No.
Okay. I guess, Ryan, the question would be then, as we looked at this rezoning previously, we had identified buffer zones and earthen walls and tree lines to buffer some of the noise coming out. And as we look at our overlay standards that the town's developing, a lot of that is what we looked at previously is now incorporated into our overlay standards. So if we were to approve this as a straight rezoning, you would of course have to follow those guidelines. Are you okay with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Do you foresee the property possibly being cut into sections instead of one major mass?
Possibly, the issue is to sell like a 10 acre site, you run into the same problem, you need roads and infrastructure. A 10 acre site might not be a development large enough to justify putting in those roads, so the hope is you get a larger user. And we either use TIF or something to have tax generation to pay for those roads, so. It certainly could be split, I just don't think I don't think you're gonna see a bunch of like little 5 acres, because it's just not engineered and designed for it at the moment.
I was thinking more like, 30 acre at a time.
Possibly, yeah, I mean, if it was on what would be the northwest corner, if the road at Stone Mine came down to there. You could start to develop that northwest corner. You might be able to do something south of Babylon, but again, you have those houses there and that has to get figured out too. I'm imagining whatever developer or manufacturer would come in to probably buy those houses as well, just to. Because, yeah, I mean, those houses are in the middle of the site there, so, but at the moment, that's not in the town of Bristol, it's not zoned, so. This will cross that bridge when we get to it, but yeah, it's a possibility.
Any other questions for Ryan? Okay. All right, so next step in the process would be to open up a public hearing. And so we will open up a public hearing at this time. Process for that will be, step up to the microphone, state your name, your address, and you'll be given 3 minutes to either speak for or against it. First, we're going to start off with anyone presenting, wishing to speak in favor of the rezoning. So if there's anybody here that would like to speak to that, please step up to the microphone.
Question?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you, explain, I want to get this straight in my head, the difference between a PUD and an M1?
Yeah, planning folks probably best.
Yeah.
I mean, just to get my brain clear here.
Yeah, May Kratzer, Planning Development for Alpharetta County. So there's a couple acronyms that get thrown around right here, PUD, DPUD. The simple difference there is just saying plan unit development versus detailed plan unit development. Really, there's not much of a difference other than to say they're both a plan that's spelled out. It has to be carried out exactly as you see it on a site plan. So if you have a DPUD M1, if that gets approved, it has to be approved only for the use supplied in the narrative that goes with that rezoning petition, and then what's on that site plan, nothing else beyond that. If they want to go beyond that, they have to come back and refile for an amendment to it. A straight rezoning opens it up to anything that is permitted in the M1, so, does that make sense?
Yes. So one's specific and one's anything.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything in that zoning district, correct?
Thank you.
Okay, so let me I'll ask you to expound on that a little bit. So when you get into specifics, what are there restrictions?
Generally, when we have a DPUD, what town councils, what commissioners, the approving body likes to see is additional requirements around buffering, screening, hours of operation, noise reduction, anything that might cause conflict to neighboring property owners, especially when you have non-compatible uses next to each other. So often in the county, for example, we're dealing with a lot of M1 and M2 in the county, it's kind of isolated. That's why you want to see a DPUD, because there's not like zoning districts next to it.
Okay, so as you know, we're going through the overlay process right now. So is it fair to say that our overlay, the guidelines that we're putting in our overlay would be the same exact guidelines as you would put into a PUD or a DPUD?
I wouldn't say they're exactly the same. I'd say they're beneficial. They're nodding in that direction, right? Because you're capturing a higher standard than what would just be as a straight rezoning, because you have overlay standards. They're still not as precise as what you would see in a DPU that addresses that site. It's not site specific. An overlay is a step in that direction though.
Okay. Because either way, we would, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, or Alex, in our overlay, we have, I'll call it more stringent guidelines
Yep.
than what the county is proposing in their standards.
Yep.
So considerably more
Yeah, I've
stringent.
worked with, I've looked at what Angela's proposed for y'all.
Yeah, Angela's proposed
Yeah.
quite a bit of buffering, that would protect. So I guess, would I be wrong in saying that the overlay, I guess in my opinion, would be more strict than the county's DPUD or PUD?
So the county doesn't have any DPD standards, DPD standards are provided in the site plan from the engineer, from the surveyor that do the site plan, that are site specific. So they're
Okay.
different items, and then I would just, to the board, I would just, let you all know too, since you're working through your overlay, but it's not adopted yet, that if that's something you want to affirm that they follow, you'd have to add that as a condition or commitment of this rezoning.
Oh, this rezoning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think,
We have a commitment letter for them to sign, and they've agreed to the wording, so it's there,
Okay.
which says they will follow our overlay developments, or our overlay standards. In addition, that any site plan will have to be reviewed by McCormick Engineering, so it meets our watershed study requirements.
And that certainly goes above and beyond a straight rezoning, having just that commitment in order.
Yeah. Another question, so your recommendation would be to do a PUD where you have M1, B1 and residential?
So the recommendation to, in order to get more of an approval from the county side, right, from county staff, looking at planning commission, when we have a rezoning that's isolated to an area that's A1 currently, it's residential agricultural use, we want to see that level of detail, and that they're held to that level of detail in the site plan and in the narrative, because of that isolated rezoning. If this were, next to an industrial, surrounded by industrial use, it would make sense to do a straight rezoning. So that's that recommendation for a less intense rezoning as part of the staff report.
Okay, but it could still be M1 though. You could still have M1 in the PUD as you've
Mhm.
Yes, you can
recommended.
definitely have the
Okay.
DPUD at one, yes.
Okay, I guess I would just see a conflict of the recommendation is to protect the residents in the area, but you want to put residential in the area in question.
Possibly.
Possible,
I
okay,
mean, yeah, you see compatible uses, that's part of, that's basic zoning is, you want compatible uses next to each other, right? So there's residential, you put residential, there's residential, you put light business, you put your B1 type businesses or agricultural, low intensity
Yeah.
agricultural uses.
Okay. So an example of a B1, can you give us some examples of what a
Yeah,
B1
when you
would
think
be?
of like your simple errands that you go run, right, you want to get your hair done, you want to take the pet to get groomed, you want to stop by the grocery store, low intensity things that support your way of life.
Okay. And we're trying to focus that more in the downtown area
Yeah.
rather than out in an industrial. So, okay, thank you.
Makes sense, zoning wise?
Mhm.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. So we didn't have anybody that was here to speak for it, so at this time, we'll open up the public hearing to anyone wishing to speak against the petition. So if you're opposed to it, please step up and state your name and address.
Hello, I'm Brittany Herman. I live on County Road 14, which is about a mile across the road from the proposed rezoning site. Every morning, I watch manufacturing traffic speed down County Road 23, where I know you live. It's dangerous and only gonna get worse with more industrial development. Approving the rezoning directly threatens our safety and quality of life. It destroys the rural character of our community and will inevitably lower our property values. For me, I just built my house 4 years ago and it's a place that I want to stay forever. It's already bad enough that you guys approved M2 rezoning for a data center that the majority of Bristol residents are strongly against. And now we have to worry about what is next. This proposal, I feel, goes against your Bristol comprehensive plan and the Elkhart County Planning and Development staff's clear recommendation to deny it. I urge you to remember that you were elected to represent the residents of this town and not the developers. Please stand with your community this time and reject this rezoning to protect those of us who call Bristol home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ryan Elliott. I live at 54868 Leona Court. I just ask you guys to please consider the PUD. That is what it's there for. It's there for instances they created it for an exact situation like this, where you have the residential up against the manufacturing. If you straight zone at M1, any company that falls into that M1 can move in there. It's PUD. We get to have this conversation again, and we get to know the exact company that's moving in there or wants to move in there. We get to have more input and choice on saying, yeah, I'm fine with that M1. That'd actually be great compared to some of the other things. So just use the tools the county has created and laid out for you guys to have. They, as in 2014, that was the recommendation for the entire Wilhelm Farm, was the PUD. So it's a little frustrating that we're doing the M1 again. Brittany hit it right on the head, the traffic. I understand Ryan said that the industrial use, there are semis that come up and down through there. There are delivery trucks that come from Elkhart from 17 that go down 23. 4:30 in the morning and 3:30 at night. It's ridiculous. I hear, and I'm getting on a tangent, but there are cars that are absolutely horrendous to listen to going down that road. I don't want more of it. I understand Ryan's want to do straight M1. It's a lot more beneficial for them, for the sellers. They can turn it around quickly, but there is M1 and M2, like the county stated, directly above it. If they want quick access to that, there's land there. There's what did they say? I think in the report, there's a 113 acre parcel right there. 798 acres are already zoned M1, just north of there. So why are we continually pushing south when there's already the items that they're requesting available? So just please hear us. We don't want to come closer. If we do a PUD, we get to have this conversation again. At least we get to know what company's going in there and decide whether, yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I really don't want trash blowing in. So, I guess, please hear us. Have them go down the PUD route. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan.
Homes at 18524 County Road 23. I've been there 30 years. I don't know how long y'all been here, but I used to get like 2 cars a day down to my house. I no longer can even come uptown anymore because when you want to try to come out to come uptown, there's a 20-minute wait till I get on 15. I don't know what the plan is to change that, but I feel like I'm getting drug in here and I'm getting shafted on the other end. I can't enjoy what's here because of all the trucks, the trash, couches, tires, beds. I live on a curve, so you got semis that are coming down there jake breaking, speeders, a lot of exhaust. I got downtown covered at my house. I don't really want to see a change. I understand change has to happen. I don't understand why it can't stay that way instead of coming this way. And I really want my life to change here. So other than that, have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Lester Otto, 18686 County Road 23. I am very much against changing it to M1 straight. I like what he said about going to the PUD or the DPUD. I think it gives us the time to take a pause and really look at what we want out in our area. Right now, just last night, outside of our yard, we had deer. We had geese. We had squirrels and rabbits in our yard all the time. We've got wildlife, that's all gonna disappear. Now, I agree with him on the fact that County Road 23 becomes a racetrack. As a matter of fact, I called you guys, the police department, on a car that was going down our street 4 times within an hour. And between my curve and Tim's curve, getting up to 70 and 75 miles an hour, and then slamming on the brakes and then racing to the next corner. This is happening all the time. And the more factories and stuff that come out there, the worse it's gonna get. My property values, I mean, just look at Zillow, they're going down already just because of what is happening in Bristol. And I can't afford to take another hit. So I'm begging you guys to look at this in a realistic, public-oriented view. Like the person ahead of me said, you work for the public, you don't work for the manufacturers, you don't work for the industries, or at least you shouldn't be.
Thank you, Lester. Anyone else? Okay. At this time, we will close the, next question. Do you have any written statements, Mike?
No,
In support.
I see, no comment.
Okay. So at this time, we will close the public hearing.
Can I say something real quick?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
Is there any way we can look into maybe vacating County Road 23, like at what would be the far east end of the property, like south of Belmont? I mean, all of that traffic should be forced to go out to 15 to the north side. I mean, would that alleviate this car and traffic issue?
I guess my response to that is that we really can't make any changes or many improvements to County Road 23 until we get some tax dollars or some development on this property. And once we see how that land is developed, and I've talked to Ryan, but before much development happens on that, he'll need to sit down with McCormick Engineering to understand what can be done on that site. It's less than what we normally would see on that size acreage, just because of limitations of stormwater. So once we know, as Ryan, as you indicated before, once we know what M1 use will be there, then we can begin looking at a site plan that helps alleviate the traffic issues there. So perhaps cul-de-sacing or vacating 23, but that would mean all of the residents would have only one way out to 15. And that would be south and then east, and rather than having the other opportunity. So I think we need to look at it holistically. Depending on how this property develops and the property to the east, we may have another outlet right directly from here out to State Road 15. That would be another possibility.
I know originally when we talked about the data center, that the traffic was going to go on the north side of that property.
Correct.
And that's what I'm wondering if it's, I don't know, this may be an Alex question. On a PUD, can you specify that they exit to the north instead of to the south? That's all I needed to know.
Well,
And you can still.
Could we also do that as a restriction on a straight M zoning?
You could do it as a commitment,
Yes,
yes.
the commitment already says that site plan needs to be approved by the town. So we're already taking care of it.
So they're already taking care of the traffic moving off of any additional traffic
just
off
saying
of
that-
23, but they have to exit north of town instead of.
No, we're not saying that yet, because we don't know what's going to happen.
Right, but
I am
it's,
saying that in the commitment letter, that we have to approve the site plan before it goes for it's part of the technical review process.
okay, and part of the site plan would be their driveways and that
Oh,
type
yeah.
of thing. See, okay, good. So
Would
we
that,
do have a control on
would that be employees or the deliveries or the industrial traffic?
any driveways,
How do you
Yes.
enforce that?
any driveways. You know, like off
On
the
the data
property.
center, we didn't even allow an entrance or exit out onto 23.
No.
They had to go
Right.
stone.
And say that's what we're talking about. The restriction is possible, that there is no exiting or entering off of 23.
So all of the entrance would come off of 15? Because some of
Well-
those are landlocked
Yeah,
by 20.
Yeah,
Well,
it's just too early to say. We don't know which end use will be presented. We don't know how the site.
or industrial
Yeah.
parkway, you know, instead of the County Road 23.
All those things could be answered by a PUD as well.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
That-
great,
okay.
thank
No,
you.
That's good input, Brian. So I want to talk a little bit more with you ladies. The PUD, does that identifies where the roads are, where the water, where the sewer, where the electric lines, curb cuts,
Mhm.
entrances, is that all defined before anybody goes in there?
Generally, yes. So
Okay.
the is
Site plan.
known land use plan. It's a very site specific plan.
Okay,
Wouldn't necessarily, it's not something you would do without knowing how the site's gonna be developed.
okay.
It's very
So,
extensive.
so then you don't know who's going in there when you develop the property, correct?
Generally, you do know who's
Yeah.
going in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a company name. It's not tied to a company name. It's tied to the land use is going to occur on the property.
Okay,
So if it's
So-
gonna be a car manufacturer, you know, just as an example, we would know that this is set up for car manufacturing. It's car manufacturing only at that point, or if it's a RV, we'll know that it's being set up for RV. We don't know who, but we would know the use and what they're making.
And that way, if they were to change uses, they have to come forward
Yeah.
for an amendment to change the use.
And we can specify exits and entrances.
okay.
But we'll be doing that with the straight rezoning as well.
You're giving that.
Yeah, well, anyways, I mean, even with a straight rezoning, the site plan goes through technical review. They have to lay out where the curb cuts are going to be.
Mm-mm. Nope,
Tech review.
Doesn't it go to tech review?
No, it's stereo zoning is not go to tech review, and then there's no tech review on just a development. There's commercial review on it. So commercial review for like the building plan. But then they're not limited to anything other than just our highway,
But
soil,
in
water.
order to get a curb cut, they have to get approved from the town. So we have control over the interior roads, but we control the curb cuts. It's our road. So the county likes PUDs, and you can kind of tell I don't, maybe. It adds more levels of control, no doubt, but it's not as extensive as what you're thinking. So, in my mind. So M1, if you approve M1, if the new site is adjacent to a residential area, then you are mandated a class 3 buffer. And there's 3 options on a class 3 buffer. The chances of a DPUD of requiring over and above the class 3 buffer, I sent you examples of that, was pretty substantial. So even a straight rezoning within the development standards, in my opinion, takes into consideration the adjacent uses. The current development standards take into account the adjacent land uses with buffer. This site is going to be difficult, and just because of the stormwater requirements on that site. It has to be carefully developed or we will have flooding issues. So we've got plenty of land there to develop. It needs to be developed properly. And we've taken all of that into consideration with the commitment letter that that review will happen.
So I'm sorry, I keep asking the questions about the PUD, I just want to be really clear on this. So, and Ryan, how many acres are out there total?
147.
More than that.
On the what we're
Oh,
currently
it's a
asking for, are you including the previously rezoned?
The previous, everything, including the previous,
Everything together is like 416, I think.
okay. And the previous was like 245.
Yeah,
Around
right around there, yeah.
Okay, so on a PUD, let's say we've got the 400 plus acres. You're going to require that all the roads and streets and water and sewer and curb cuts and power poles and lights and everything are laid out ahead of time. Now, what if one company wants to come in and buy and use more than just one or two lots? What if they want to acquire all of it?
That's fine, it's not tied to a company, it's just tied to land use, so, like Danielle was saying earlier, if the land use is a data center, that's all it can be used for, and if a company says that, I wanna do a data center on one part, but I'd really like to do RV manufacturing on the other, that's when the amendment comes into play, so it has nothing to do with the company, it's everything to do with use specific.
Okay. And when you identify the uses in that PUD, how do you go about that?
You list exactly what it is in the narrative that goes with it for approval,
And who does that?
the petitioner.
The petitioner.
Yep, that responsibility falls on the petitioner.
So in this case, if we decided not to do a straight rezoning tonight and we went with the PUD, we could ask Ryan to do a PUD and have everything requested as petitioned as M1.
Yes, yep, a DPUD, yep.
Okay, so ultimately, it could be, whether it goes through a straight rezoning or a PUD, you could have the same exact use no matter what.
You could, generally, the reason you would do a DPUD is to call out one or a few uses, not everything allowed in the M1.
Because of the residences that are there, the County Road 14s, there'll be their backyard, and then those two properties that'll then be completely surrounded. Not all M1 uses are gonna be good neighbors to those residences.
Yeah.
Whereas in DPUD, there are less intense M1 that were like, yes, this would be, not as bad for these residences that have been there. So that's kind of why we were thinking, that route, to make sure they were somewhat protected.
I did provide you a list of all the M1 uses.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like manufacturing.
So let's say we go the PUD route, right? And Ryan identifies what he wants laid out in that entire 400 plus acres of property. And it's a mixture of M1, B1, maybe some residential, whatever. If the developer or the property owner decides, I've got a buyer that wants to buy all 400 acres, and they want to do all M1, what's the process then? Do they come back to the county? Do they come back to us?
Anytime you have a land use change, it goes back first to the county, just like it did for this petition. It goes to the county first, staff recommendation, planning commission, then to you all for a final decision, as you are the elected official representing the town. Again, it just depends on what the developer's land use is. If it's one that was already approved to the PUD, great, there's no action needed. But if it's something that wasn't approved to the PUD, then it goes through the same process of that this just went through.
Okay. So Ryan, I'll speak to you specifically, because you had requested that we go through the PUD process, right? So if we go through that process and we do the PUD, you could ultimately have the same result though, right?
I could,
Yeah.
but I also have the chance to look and see what that usage is, and based off of that, voice my concerns or ask more questions at that point.
Yeah.
Versus just saying, yeah, put a racetrack is in too, I think, but my point is not knowing what that land use would be used for.
Yeah.
So Yeah, and honestly, Lester's probably the one you should be looking at since he's the one surrounded by it, but yes, that was my intention.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Okay,
Um,
do you want to see the definition for PUD?
No,
Okay,
that's, they've explained it. Thank you, by the way, for all that. That's
it's a
very
little more
helpful.
detailed, but.
Thoughts, council? Let's talk through this, see what your thoughts are.
I'm thinking PUD.
Me too.
Make a motion, we go with the PUD.
Well, I,
It's a deny,
yeah, it's not
and
that.
start the process over.
When the process starts over. Because
Oh, okay.
the
Well-
petitioner right now is requesting a straight rezoning.
No.
So, Greg, thoughts?
My biggest issue, I mean, it does border a lot of residential on 14, that I don't like, but we do have, our overlay does have substantial barriers. My biggest issue are the two parcels that are gonna be completely surrounded. They said that they might be able to address that later, and eventually buy them.
Yeah.
Well, before it goes straight rezoning, should they be approached to see if they're interested in selling before it goes straight rezoning?
That's true.
That's my biggest concern, is those two properties are gonna be completely surrounded.
Yeah.
So their best case, they're surrounded by buffers all around their properties.
Yeah.
And I mean, that'll have an impact. I mean, if to go straight rezoning, I think those two properties need to be addressed personally.
We can table this.
We could.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
I would like, to get more information, I would like to table this until the next meeting.
And I know, Mike, you're opposed to PUDs. I think,
I'm not.
I mean,
Obviously, you guys are, it's okay.
yeah.
No, thank you.
I just want to make sure everybody knows, Ryan, especially because you brought it up, that even if we do a PUD, the end result could inevitably be the same. But with our new overlay standards that we're talking about, I'm not sure if everybody understands what those are. But the overlay standards that we're developing right now, the county has developed standards for development, right? And they say you have to setbacks,
Heights.
building heights, noise ordinance. If you have a fence, it can't be taller than so tall. Lights for manufacturing can't be
Location-
taller than.
Location trash.
Yeah,
that type of
location,
thing.
all these things. So what we are doing, we have the ability to do, the county has set their standards, then they've come to all the municipalities and said, if you want to have an overlay that follows our guidelines, but you have stronger enforcement for your specific municipality, you can do that. We're doing that. It was May, right?
Yes.
May had made the comment earlier, we're working with JPR to create our overlay standards right now, and they are more stringent. Considerably more stringent than what the county has in place. So we're doing that to protect not just outside of the area, the outside borders of the town, but the downtown area, the existing manufacturing areas. So we are certainly taking a look at that and trying to make better standards so that we can eliminate a lot of these concerns that residents have.
I commend you on that, and I appreciate that, because I do think it's great that we're going above and beyond. But as I sit here and think about it, I think those are great, and we would have those buffers regardless of what company in there. I don't think our concerns are about the buffers, it's about the neighbor. You know, the buffers, whether it's a scrapyard, is a big difference than if it's a different company that's a little less invasive, and one is very broad in the spectrum.
Yeah.
So I guess that's good, but my concern is more which one is going in.
Yeah.
And that's where I like the buffers, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
We're going there, so.
Yeah,
Ryan, have you looked at the uses under M1?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because I didn't see them as very broad, and two, are heavy manufacturing was.
Yeah, M2 has more uses than
And one is pretty much light manufacturing,
That's a broad term in itself, though.
Yep.
it's an RV factory.
That's what we mainly see for.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also think we should be clear that this is not about the neighbors deciding whether it's Thor or Valmont or whatever. It's
Right.
strictly land use.
Right.
And, so really, we can't pick and choose.
Yeah, you can't pick and choose the company.
Just land use.
Yeah,
So those scrapyard, that makes sense.
yeah.
So don't table, just make a decision so that Ryan can move on.
Yeah.
You table, you just delay everything.
I'll be back, it's all right.
No, no, I mean the other way.
Right, like.
All right, too many Ryans.
Yeah. I will bring up a point, and just because it happened, obviously, we went through the whole rezoning for the data center. Most people were opposed to that. There were some people who were in favor of it. There were people in this town that have businesses that were in favor of it. We asked them to come to the meeting and speak in favor of it. They refused to. Because they didn't want their business impacted. And they're business owners in this town. One that's very close to that property out there. So, at any rate, I made the comment during that rezoning hearing that this day would come. That if it didn't get zoned for a data center, that a rezoning request would come in to have all that property zoned as M1. And I explained that if that's the case, it could be a trailer factory, an RV factory, a foundry, a fiberglass factory, anything heavier and more traffic, more people, more trash, more noise, more light pollution that a data center would have. And you know what happened? Everybody cheered. The entire church cheered because they wanted factories over a data center. Now, here we are, fast forward to today, and now it's, oh, we don't want factories there. So it's,
certain factors, the more concerned, I'm saying.
yeah,
In my defense, in the very first meeting, I asked for a PUD. So I'm just.
yeah. So I remember that. You did. Okay, so,
So move on.
so I am going to make a motion that we deny the zoning request and that we go back to the property owners and ask them to move forward with a PUD for the development of the property.
So we're denying the M1 zoning request. That's what you're saying? Isn't that what
Yes,
I'm
I'm
asking? Okay.
asking, yeah,
Okay.
deny the straight rezoning request. So that is my motion.
Um,
Okay, motion by Jeff, second by Dean, open for discussion. I think the next step, Ryan White, for you is gonna be, let's talk about what the PUD looks like. And then, we can go from there.
Got it.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. Doug Smith? Yes. Dean Renfro? Kathy Burke?
Yes.
Greg Polsky?
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda, let me get the screen back here.
We have a tax phase-in request from Ryan Sheets and David, well, you're going to start. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you for having me this evening. I'm Steve Vandergren. I'm the general manager at Alliance Sheets. I've been there a little over 2 years. Plant started in 2014. And I could talk for hours about that plant, but that's not why I'm here. To give you a little bit of background, what we do is we produce corrugated sheets. For people that aren't familiar with corrugated sheets, you would call it cardboard. But in my world, if you call it cardboard, it's a swear word. What happens is we ship sheets out to customers that fold, make boxes, print them, and so we provide a niche for a number of people. We ship about 70 to 80 trucks a day out of that plant. We employ 100 people. The plant's just a little over 11 years old. Normally in a plant like mine, they'll run it for another 20 years before they put money back into it. Our corrugator, which is in effect about 2 football fields long, you can imagine that, just to make cardboard. My team is going to kill me tonight.
I was gonna say, you used the C word.
And over time, technology changes. And so after 11 years, we're going to be upgrading our machine. It'll improve its capability by about 12 to 15%. And we're going to spend about $10 million in capital equipment, about another $3 million to install. We're the first 132-inch corrugator, which is 11 feet wide. We'll run 11 feet wide rolls of paper, 3 to 5 rolls at any given time at about 1,000 feet a minute. We make a lot of paper. And so we're going to upgrade the thing, run about 15% faster. Right now, it looks like we'll probably add a couple people in shipping to keep up with that. We'll be putting in new splicers, new start system, new roll stands, new conveyor lines, new knife, new slitter score, all kind of great to you guys. And anytime you want to come over and come to me, please do. I'll take you on a tour.
It's
It's,
impressive, by the
right.
way. It's impressive. See,
He's been there a couple times. And you could probably vouch for me, but our team's pretty proud of the place.
it's one of the cleanest facilities I've ever been in, and I've been in one.
We have roughly, we started out with 92 people 11 years ago. We have 100 people now. Like I said, we'll probably add 2-3 people in shipping. That's the way it looks. Things could change. I think some things that are important, I'm really, I could say this with tears in my eyes, I'm proud of my team. I have a great group of people. When I got there, the year before I got there in 2022, the turnover in that plant was 200%. We turned the plant over 2 times. The year after I got, or the year I got there, we reduced it to 120%. You're thinking, ooh, that's a win. Last year, the turnover was 60%. This year, right now, we're trending right about 18%.
Nice.
We have a team. And that's like, you can't get any deeper in my heart than that. Our starting wage is generally about $18 to $22, no, $19 to $22. We have a system where our people can have pay for skills. You learn another job, you demonstrate the fact that you can do the job, I'll pay you the money. We also have a process in place where we call team share. Team share gives them a line of sight on their goals. They know exactly where they're at every day. They can go between 15 to 25% increase on top of their hourly wage. You're actually looking about $3-4 higher than that. And they will push the speed, they'll push the waste, they'll do everything they can to help that. I believe a lot in community involvement. Maybe you've seen our billboard on the corner of 15 out there. We're sitting out there on Commerce Drive out there in Big Blue Building. I don't think anybody knows we're there. We know we're there. So let's put a billboard up. Then last year, my HR person came to me and said, hey, the hub's having a golf outing. So we put in the team. If anybody was there, we were the guys in hot pink shorts and the person that picked those out is not in charge of fashion this year. We already made that very clear.
They're part of the 18%?
Turnover? No, no. Actually, he's probably my right-hand guy.
Okay.
But that also, not just doing that, but then we got involved. We collected food. We volunteered on the turkey handout. We helped deliver food. And we're back in the golf tournament this year, not in pink outfits. I guarantee that. Anyway, so I believe a lot in community involvement, and our team's getting it. I think we collected it doesn't sound like a lot, but for a plant that's not done stuff in the community, we collected 500 pounds last holiday season. I was really proud of it. I think they'll do more. They start to see that kind of stuff and they try to give back a little bit. Let's see, what am I forgetting back there, guys?
No, you get it.
All right. But again, if you ever want to come, just reach out. I'd be happy to give you a tour. I'd be proud to give you a tour. It's a nice plant. I've been in this industry about 35 years. Been in this plant for 2 years, and it's the best plant I've ever been in my life. I don't regret coming here at all.
Nice.
Anybody have any questions for me?
Do you have a card?
Yes, I do. That's dangerous when you start. getting-
Somewhere in the
Did you want to buy some sheets?
I want cardboard. Thank you.
No, it might be.
I'd like to check out the factory.
Pretty quick, I'm gonna be giving somebody else's business card out here.
The EDC scored this for us and it scores, it qualifies for a 5-year abatement. So it's just personal property. it's
Yeah, I was
just
gonna say, I
equipment.
can't see.
And, yeah, it's kind of small.
There we go.
It is a $10 million investment. It's pretty significant and.
Dean brought up a good question.
What's
Why is
that?
it
A check payable to City of Elkhart.
Well, actually, I have the check here as payable to the town of Bristol.
Okay.
We have it right here.
We need to get on Chris for.
Chris or David needs to fix that. The mayor of Elkhart does not need any of our.
Mayor Rod doesn't need any more money. We'll blame that on Chris, okay, dude?
You said it's scored for 5 years.
What's that?
You said it's scored for
It's
5
scored
years.
for 5 years.
$10 million investment, right?
$10 million, yeah. Phase-ins are incentive for our businesses, and this is obviously a business that represents diversification. It's a company that's been here for a while, so we want these companies that are involved in the community to stay here. We want them to expand. And so I think this is a perfect incentive project for us.
Okay.
Did you guys have a phase-in, tax phase-in when you started here?
For me,
When you started here, did you have a tax phase-in then?
I believe,
I'm sort of thinking.
I think so.
yeah, I think there was, I think when we went, look back.
I think it's before me, but I think.
Yeah,
I've
it was
seen it
before you,
Yeah, I've seen
but
it
I can still remember. Yeah, I do. Okay.
I'm
That's
not,
what I thought.
I wasn't that guy representing it 11 years ago.
Well, I was here representing you. But I do remember.
So, David, can I ask you to talk a little bit about the tax phase in a little bit, the process? Because here's what I'd like to do. I want to use this as an educational tool for everybody in the room, right? And so, and for people online. When someone hears tax abatement, how many people in the room, by a show of hands, how many people think that Alliance isn't gonna pay any taxes for the next 5 years? Anybody think that? A lot of people do. It's actually not the case, correct? It's phased in that they pay, it's a percentage. Can you kind of walk us through?
Percentage, like, for example, 5 years to be 100% on the first year and then 80, 60, 40, 20, and then 0.
Yeah.
On a 5 year.
Yeah.
So I mean, they are paying it. What it does is it helps them cash flow that initial outlay on the front end.
Yeah.
So that it makes things easier as things go on down, as time goes by.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I want everybody to understand that because a lot of people think, I've heard comments from constituents that said, well, Thor doesn't pay any taxes at all. Well, that's not true. I don't know where they come up with that information. Thor pays their fair share of taxes just like everybody else. In this case, we want to incentivize Alliance Sheets to make a $10 million investment in our town, into their property, in their equipment, into their people, which also is an investment into our town, right? That $10 million investment will increase their value, which in turn increases the revenue of taxes that they pay, which comes to the town and helps fund what we need to do in the town.
Correct, and also what it has done, and I've experienced this a number of times, where companies that are looking at doing expansion, when they model to see what kind of maybe incentives they can get, it allows them maybe to even amp up their investment because of the phase in that they were able to receive, or potentially receive contingent on approval by the council.
I like to use the definition of, okay, you've got a vacant piece of land. Somebody wants to build a factory on that. And we do a tax phase in. Once the phase in is done, the amount of taxes we're going to get when the phase is done and a structure is bigger than the taxes on a blank piece of property.
Yeah.
So the more improvements you put in, after that tax phase in goes in, the higher taxes that are going to be received.
Okay,
Does it matter on the size of the business, the new business that comes into town?
Well, it depends on the tax rates.
yeah,
But if you do an enlargement to the buildings,
It's the investment.
so
Not
it's,
the actual.
the amount of that investment is.
there's a score sheet
Yeah.
that
There's this-
the EDC uses. So they look at, okay, if a company comes in, they wanna spend $5 million on a business. They may say, the EDC may say they score this on the sheet, and we're recommending they get this, this tax phase in.
To your
A
buyer.
company that comes in that says, I'm gonna spend $200 million on a business, may get a higher phase in.
What about a dry cleaners or a small business that comes in and can't spend $20 million that comes into town? Are they eligible for that too? We don't go there. We tend to dial in on your industrial.
Manufacturing.
Industrial.
Larger value.
But what I will say in regards to the scoring, there's other things that play a factor other than just the investment, both on personal and real property. It takes into account the benefits that they offer employees, and it's encouraging companies to add more benefits. It also takes a look at the property itself. Maybe it's an obsolete property. Well, they're gonna come in and they're going to revamp it up. I mean, right now, it's just an eyesore. So it scores higher for that also, not just the dollar.
So it takes into consideration brownfield.
Correct.
Well,
That's actually one of the questions.
There are
Yeah.
different types of abatements too. You could do one based on fiscal, and one on property, correct?
Personal and real property.
Personal and
Yeah.
real property.
But to answer your question specifically, Bill, if a business, like a B1 business wanted to come in, they could certainly come to the town and ask for some incentives. And we could entertain those. So
Incentives other
absolutely,
than tax abatements, or I mean, what incentives are you looking
like a tax abatement.
for? Okay, thank you.
Typically, we don't get those, but if we.
I've never scored a funeral home. There's always. Yeah, that's right.
Could be a first.
Yeah. Okay, so again, I just wanted to take this as a learning opportunity for everybody in the room. Just to explain what a tax phase in, a tax abatement is, because a lot of people don't really know. So, okay. So with that said, is there a motion to approve the 5-year tax phase in for Alliance Sheets?
Supposed to be declaratory.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah,
procedurally, what's before the council this evening is resolution number 8-7-2025-12.
thank you, Alex, keeping me in line.
This is a resolution of the town council that, under the statute, declares the preliminary designation of an economic revitalization area and qualifying certain personal property for tax abatement. So this is the initial step in the process. The council has received the application, it has received the SB1/PP from the petitioner. The resolution here, there's certain findings under the act that are required. The council's to the total amount of the applicant's investments, the number of full-time employments, the average wage, and some of the infrastructure requirements. So these are all things that are spelled out in the act.
Okay,
The statement that was submitted indicates that it's a $10 million, $10.2 million investment in new manufacturing equipment. There's $95,000 in additional salaries that'll be paid, and that's in addition to the just shy of $6.4 million in salaries that are currently paid to the 99 employees that are there. What is proposed in the declaratory resolution is a 5-year abatement with a lockstep for each year, 100% the first year, 80, 60, 40, 20, expiring at the end of 5 years. There is admittedly one amendment that I would recommend to the resolution that's before you, and it's in section 8 there to make clear that the public hearing, I believe, will be at the council's first meeting in September to provide for the appropriate notice period that's required under the statute. That August 7th date is from an earlier draft of the resolution that I provided to you. So with that amendment, if the council is inclined, it would be appropriate to adopt the resolution as amended. We can then issue the public notice, and then at the first meeting in September, there will be a public hearing on the adoption of the declaratory resolution.
Okay. Okay. So is there a motion to adopt on first reading declaratory resolution 8-7-2025-12 as amended in section 8 to September 8th, is it?
No, September
8th or 9th? 8th,
I believe the first meeting is September 4th.
September 4th.
I'll make that
Did you make
motion.
that motion?
Okay, motion by Doug. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Kathy. Open for discussion. No further discussion. We'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
yes.
Greg Dolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beechey, yes. Motion carries. Okay. Thank you. And I'll be calling you for a tour.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Wow, we're gonna be going down in August to start doing this stuff, so
Okay.
I'd hate for you to come and see it. Just not going on.
Do you have to wear pants?
Well, thank you for the overview of the company too. I really appreciate that. That was great. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Okay, next, one quick item, then we get into our Welcome to Bristol sign. First item on my agenda is the state revolving fund disbursement request number 29. It was on the water main project.
Okay.
So a payment to Niblock for $422,255, and then a payment to the retainage fund of $22,224.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the SRF disbursement request number 29 to Niblock and retain it as well?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Dean,
I'll second.
second by Doug. Open for discussion. No further discussion. We'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beechey, yes. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next, Adam is here from Sign Crafters. We're on the final step of the Welcome to Bristol sign discussion. So Adam's here to discuss the quote, 19,000 and some change, $500, and the funding source I'm recommending is Cume Cap Development. We have 25,000 left there remaining
That's just.
in our budget for their projects.
Pretty straightforward. We got the four main signs of the four main entrance points are gonna be updated with more sustainable materials to the elements. Use the existing posts. And got any question on what we're the current proposal? It's exactly the same from last time, just the pricing got updated, just the four larger signs
Okay,
is the only difference in the last meeting.
And this is the quote for each,
That's for all four of them,
all four.
all four get. Fabricated, installed. Repainting the existing wood posts to black. Beyond the town staff to remove the third post at the existing, if you wanted those removed at the existing, and then remove the four smaller ones at the other locations if you wanted those removed.
so we don't have the slogan below the sign, below the Bristol?
Correct.
Okay,
I thought that's what we wanted.
did we want that taken off or did we want it on there?
You remember what it said?
A great place to visit, Bristol, a great place to visit, a wonderful place to live.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't recall
You're
exactly,
grinning.
I don't, we can do whatever you want with
I don't
that.
recall exactly how that disappeared. I might have had something to do with that.
I think Mike's
I wonder-
but it was never brought up when we sent it the last meeting.
Cleaner sign with less wordage, but we can stick it back on there, I guess. Yeah.
In small cursive is what we had before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have the compilation, but we read it.
What's that?
It was in Thursdays, and we have the compilation.
Yeah, yeah, true.
You might have changed the print, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And I missed I missed all of July's
Yeah.
meeting, so, are these letters, is this still the same?
So it's
Oh,
aluminum,
modular.
two inch fabricated aluminum cabinet.
Yeah.
The letters and the picture.
Yeah.
Are half inch or quarter inch flat cutout letters that have a lifetime warranty on them. Even the picture they printed on there, so it has a lifetime warranty for any fading or manufacturing defects or breaks.
Okay,
And then that is attached to the existing post with some painted 2 inch angle.
okay,
It's the same modular type thing where somebody hits one of the legs, you can replace the leg. Somebody hits the sign, you don't have to replace it. It's the same
okay,
system.
okay.
And these are just on 120 and 15, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be 4 signs.
Yeah,
We'll keep the others up if they're in good shape. We'll keep those up until they be replaced. Or if we have one of these 4 signs that's suitable, we
I'm
can.
gonna say there was a couple of those that are still real
Still
good.
pretty good.
Replacing like the one on 23.
yeah, like, well, it's okay.
Mine,
So I guess the question is, do we want that original slogan on there?
did anybody pull it up on their computer? My computer just died, so.
Existing full aluminum.
I was guessing nobody knows it was missing.
I know that it was missing, but
Well, apparently somebody knew.
I know,
It
by the way.
cleans it up a little bit, but if you wanted this, and it may increase the cost a little bit, because it's more
Yeah,
flat
yeah.
letters.
Well,
This is the two issues. It makes it a little bit cleaner and
I kind of like, I mean, it's making it fine the way it is. I mean, that's a nice slogan, but that's up to you guys.
Okay, we're good with that. I did have one question though, so the existing black posts, in your original. In your
Oh, thank you.
original proposal, did you have a sleeve on the post?
no, we were doing aluminum posts originally.
Okay,
And to save some costs and be economical for the town, we
okay,
had somebody go through and survey all of them. They're all still solid and usable. So we can just reuse the existing posts that are out there at those
think
4
we need it.
main locations.
okay.
On Old Bend on 120 and on South North and South on 15.
Okay, the only thing I was saying, like,
I
is
think we need it.
on those posts, we're gonna have to do a good job of keeping those maintained. Cause I know, Jill, you had some kids paint them one year.
Our guys painted it.
Yeah, I
Our guys made it.
3 years ago.
Okay,
So they're in pretty good, they're in good shape. Like I said, we had our survey guy come through, I made sure that, hey, we're not gonna have any surprises when we go to try to put this new sign
okay,
cabinet on there.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna be like, oh crap, the post is rotted out. We had them go check them and they're all,
Yeah.
the 4 that we're touching are all still usable
Yeah, we
posts.
received them
Plus they're gonna-
2 years ago.
okay,
They're gonna take down the organization sign on the side.
Yeah.
And maintain what we've got. So as far as I'm concerned, the value is very reasonable.
okay,
I think it's a good middle ground from where we started with this.
Yeah,
process.
definitely.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
I
but
love,
nice,
I love the picture.
thank you,
You guys did a nice job on the picture.
thank you.
yeah, looks good. Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to
Expenditure.
approve the expenditure on the 4 Bristol, welcome to Bristol signs. Is that all I need to do? I think.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Kathy, second by Doug. Open for discussion. No further discussion, like a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky.
yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes, motion carries.
Thank you, Jeff.
thank you
My agenda, that
for all your
pack
work.
of papers I just dropped off.
This one?
Yeah, no, that, my agenda, thank you. Oh, what, what? Okay, thank you.
That was you.
And you say they are gonna take out
Is
the,
that the thing?
our guys are gonna take the other post out, it's got the Sonic Lodge. and
This
This
is
the signs. This is for the sign.
Okay, so initials,
And then signature on the next page.
Okay.
Uh, We can't sign this, but it's not a resolution, it's an ordinance.
No.
We
I-
have our.
I have that. Sorry.
Okay.
So,
Kathy's got it.
we would sign.
Well, no, they're not
We have it.
signed.
We'll get it. We'll get it,
No.
yeah. It's not, that, you know, it's not that you weren't.
Okay.
Right, you just weren't. Right, yeah.
Well, I didn't think that we,
I used the same word as last. I should change the dates.
All right, ready to go on?
Yes.
no, I didn't think that we approved that.
Yeah, it's denied, so they still sign it, though it's denied, correct? The ordinance, it's signed as denied.
Why, yeah,
Or do you
why
not
would they be
sign it at
signing
all?
this?
Yeah, that's why we have a resolution order made, because it's. We can email.
Well, what do you, I guess, what do you need to take back with you?
It doesn't.
Well,
Everybody's here.
yeah,
Why
I
is
guess,
that?
I guess the,
So, again, I'm new to this, but the last time we had a denial, we make a resolution ordinance,
okay,
because it's resolving not having it. Instead of an actual ordinance, because we do an ordinance for approvals and a resolution for denials.
that's,
That makes sense.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense. So what's,
resolution to be signed, that
Okay.
says that the town council denied on today's date.
yeah,
Perfect.
that makes sense.
That's what we
Yeah,
have.
Right.
okay. That resolves the question. we
sorry.
had.
Okay, no, I did.
You were
Yeah.
Everybody was right. Yeah. Okay. Ready to move on?
No.
Oh, this is simple. So, just last month, we approved a change order with Niblock. This month, we're doing a change order with Reeve Riley. So this has to do with the St. Joe and Elkhart Street projects where they're doing flip-flopping.
Yeah.
And it goes to the back half of that.
Okay.
Well, the back half, but the other side of it.
Doug, we'll keep one of those and the other two go to Danielle.
That front page may still reference the county commissioners.
No, I.
You fix that?
Feel free to take a look.
I'll just. Here, I'll-
You know, you barely pay her.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a change order.
Yes.
What's the, what do we need to do to,
What's the change for?
Niblock is doing some of Reeve Riley's work and Reeve Riley is doing some of Niblock's work. So we're on the St. Joe and Elkhart Street project, community crossing grant project.
So we're just changing the names on it, basically?
No, we had to identify the changes in the price, because I think Niblock's doing less than Reeve Riley in the switch. So we're just documenting all of the price differences.
Okay.
Everybody's playing together well.
okay. So then we just,
The total prices of the projects do not change.
okay,
We're
so is there a motion to approve the change order for 2024-1 CCMG, 2025-1 CCMG, Reeve Riley change order to St. Joe Street and Elkhart Street project?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Doug. Open for discussion. No further discussion, take a vote. Doug Smith.
Yes.
Dean Renfro.
Yes.
Kathy Burke.
Yes.
Rick Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is yes. Motion carries.
Jeff, I need your signature, please.
Okay.
Next, before we get to the fun stuff, project updates. In working with our town staff and with the marshal and with the fire department, we did our own review of homecoming for this year, which actually opened it up to more discussions on all of the festivals that happen within our parks. And there's been since I started here 5 years ago, I've noticed there's things that were happening out of habit over time. And things weren't necessarily very clear on some things, so I created general statements on park property, equipment, facilities, how we operate with festivals under that, that basically that's town property and who's responsible for what, and saying that we will have somebody on call during festivals, whether that's, you know,
That's good.
Saturday or Sunday. And then, and also what's changed over the years is requirements for insurance and state permits. So I tried to outline what that is for everybody, it doesn't matter which festival. But then also in here, we've come up with some recommendations that we'll be sharing with the homecoming committee. I think you're meeting next week or a week after. These are recommendations, which basically is
Sometime in August.
maybe skip the parade next year because of the downtown street being tore up. Although if you guys come up with an alternative route.
Yeah,
I
we've,
think
we've talked about alternatives such as going down, even if possible, go down 120 and do a jog to Elkhart Street. You know, we had, because we didn't know when 120 was gonna be done.
Right.
And so we kind of pre-planned in our heads.
Yeah, it won't be done by homecoming.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out.
And then Elkhart Street between Division and Ponderosa may be tore up next year as well.
Oh, that'll be great too.
So although we may get it done this year, there's no guarantee. We're doing St. Joe this year. Elkhart may get put off until next spring.
Well, we've always been pretty flexible as far as what we have to do, when we have to do it for construction or.
Like I said, these are
Indiana Street last year.
more or less recommendations.
That'd be great.
The garden tractor pull will have to move. The engineers are saying we should not be doing that on newly paved road.
Mm.
So especially if it's a hot day.
Put it back on 120. You didn't hear that.
Well,
Steve.
except it won't be paved. It'll be a dirt track. Maybe that's okay.
Not down by the museum.
Oh, it won't be, that's right. Next
See, and
year
that's where it
won't
always
be.
has been for years and years, down by the museum.
Talk to NDOT.
See,
Sure.
Steve, you didn't hear that.
Anyways, we don't necessarily have to spend a lot of time on this other than
Right.
you looked through it and
Thank you.
want to make some changes, let me know. I just wanted you guys to be aware of what we were doing.
Okay,
With that. So,
Okay.
Good idea.
okay, some project updates. You can see Mary Crabtown, no great manager, was out here, so I could call her with our big projects that she's not doing. So what you're looking at is the pipe room, and the next picture down shows a little better picture of the pipe room. This is where effluent goes in, and the blowers are on the other side. So that's our 3 SBR tanks along there. Next picture, I think, is of the Headworks building, which now has rafters on top of it.
Yep.
And I think Tim said they slid the big control panel in today. The one that didn't fit the
Didn't
door.
fit the opening, yeah.
Yeah, so they tilted it, somehow got that big beast in there. So that's success. What's the next picture I have? Oh, yes, that's the water tower. If you've driven by, you notice that top is all the way around now. They're welding that, and that'll be filled with concrete. That's the kind of the top. The next step is they'll start building the tank around the bottom. And the next big public event is when they raise that tank some point next year. They will jack that tank up to the top after it's complete. So that'll be pretty fun to see. So it'll take about 4 hours. So that project is progressing well. Before I get to that, I wanted to tell you that we flushed the line that's under the river, the main that's under the river. And no sand. They've been cleaning it for several days. So today they just opened it up and left it go and got a little bit of sand and then clean water. We're doing one more test. Tests have all come back in great shape. So we may have that connected next week early.
Nice.
That's going well. Also, finally, after a very difficult under the river project. they got stuck.
Little tight.
Yeah, it was, they got stuck. Okay, last I wanted to point out a couple things that are positive for the town. That top picture is what Stealth, which is now Cross Trailers, looked like a couple weeks ago. And here's what this new company's done now. They have mowed those weeds. The other thing I've noticed is their yard up front is better organized and it has more trailers. They have increased production significantly, the new owners. Next Tuesday, I'm meeting with JPR. We have kind of a site plan to help them. That's where we're going with the new connecting route. So that was, I think the company, we're going to be able to make that company whole as far as keeping enough room for their loading and staging area. So I'll have more on that next month. The final picture, what is that? Oh,
Forest Products.
What's that? Yeah, Atlantic Forest Products. They're in the old Amerimax, yes, building that's been empty for several months. This company has actually several locations around the United States. So group of gentlemen that used to work at MJB, it started up this business and so this is our fourth wood distribution company in town.
Corn dogs and wood.
What's that?
Used to be a corn dogs and wood.
Corn dogs and wood.
Yeah.
And cardboard, or what was it?
Corrugated.
Corrugated sheets.
Yeah.
And porta potties too. Let's
Yeah.
not forget
That's
that.
true.
And
Well, we
toilet bowl
designed it
cleaner.
back in '80s. We wanted to diversify and by golly, we did.
This is a very diversified town.
There you go.
The longer
Yes, it
you're
is.
here, the more of these businesses you see, and it's pretty impressive, I think. That's all I have unless there are questions. Oh, I skipped AWT development and bond costs. I made this decision. I hope this is better than removing the thing on the sign. If you recall, we were working with a residential development where we incurred significant costs with Baker Tilly and with legal on moving that process through, and then they backed away from the project, and we were left with that cost. So we developed with Alex's help, we developed a developer agreement where before we started engaging in these projects, they would sign that and they would cover all of those costs. It occurred to me that we have not had one failure with Pete Leatherman and that development group or any of our economic on the manufacturing side with these projects. Once we start it, they go through. These are all paid with tip dollars anyways. So I agreed to waive that cost for Abby Thomas's. In fact, I think we'll do this for all the manufacturing side because they've not been a problem. But on the residential side, we've had one that's backed out already. The other one is already just stalled. So I'm leery of those folks, but on this side, the cost will be minimum, probably 8,000 or something, depending on what they do with the bond side for development. I think this is a good incentive for that land, and I think we will be fine. And it all comes out of tip dollars anyways, but I wanted to let you know that they did
which-
waive that.
Are we talking south or north?
South.
Okay.
At this point.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Any questions for Mike?
Nope.
Okay, if not, Kathy, what do you have for us tonight?
I have a couple of requests for you. I have before you ordinance number 8-7-2025-15. This is an additional appropriation request that was moved to second reading at last meeting and is before you tonight for approval. This is asking for some dollars in regard to the police department to cover their overtime and holiday pay, as well as vehicle repairs and the new dispatch system.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve ordinance number 8-7-2025-15.
Hang tight before you second it.
Okay,
The additional appropriation comes with a public hearing, so you want your record to reflect there's a public hearing held and
My fault, I forgot to include that.
nope, and that's
With a public hearing, is that all I needed to add?
following public hearing, I think, probably.
Following, I make that motion following the public hearing.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to open up a public hearing. Is there anybody in the room that would like to make comment on the additional appropriation that is highlighted on the board in front of us for the police department? Seeing no comments, we will close the public hearing.
Motion on the table.
Okay, motion by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Doug, open for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yeah.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is yes, motion carries.
Thank you. This is for all to sign. Next, I have another additional appropriation. This is a request to advance to second reading and publish to the media. As you guys know, we get awarded dollars for our community crossing grants. However, we have not budgeted for those dollars. So we need to appropriate that money, which is what this is for. So there are requests for the CCMG grants, 2024-1 and 2. There are some MVH restricted funds for road projects. And then we have some GGT funds that need to be distributed. We receive those in the form of tax dollars. And again, not budgeted for because it's based on the amount of dollars we receive.
Are we advancing this on first reading, or is this,
Request advance to second reading.
okay,
No public hearing required.
Not today,
not today.
not today.
Is there a motion to advance the second reading ordinance number 9-4-2025-16?
Do that's the 834 or 834,000.
No, it's $1,088,240
88.
240 and 18 cents.
I make a motion, we advance to second reading ordinance number 9-4-2025-16.
Okay, motion by Kathy. I will second that. So motion by Kathy, second by Jeff for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is yes, motion carries.
Thank you, council. That's all I have.
Okay, anybody have anything for Kathy? Okay, that, we will move on. Alex.
Thank you, sir. Council, before you this evening is ordinance number 2025-8-7-14. I may have transcribed those, which is a ordinance amending the water and sewer rates. This is before you on second reading this evening. As we discussed at the last town council meeting, these are the revised utility rates, the downward revisions to the utility rates based upon the completion of the Baker Tilly analysis. For a pertinent note, the water rates and charges, the changes there is it amends the current ordinance so that the increase in rates occurs May 1 of next year. That date was originally August 1 of this year, so of 10-month change there. Any of the water rates that are in the ordinance, as it exists, would be pushed, and the increases would push to May 1st of 2026. And then attached to this ordinance as Exhibit A, are the changes to the sewer rates. And these, both for the increase effective August 1 and then for May 1 of 26, are, I believe about 5 to 10% reduced from what the anticipated rate was going to be. Again, happy to answer any questions about either the process or the numbers that are before you. Procedurally, this is set for a public hearing this evening. So at the conclusion of the public hearing, barring any changes from the council, my recommendation would be to adopt this ordinance as presented.
Okay. So at this time, we will open up a public hearing to hear public comment regarding Back up to it here, ordinance number 2025-08-07-14, related to water and sewer rates. Anybody in the room that would like to make public comment at this time? Okay, seeing no comments, we will close.
Linda.
Okay,
Linda Powell, 223 East Fifth Street. And I'm one of your senior citizens on a fixed budget. Okay, and our raise from the Social Security, like mine was probably $200 for the whole year. However, your raise in just the last water bill was like $50 a month more. Now, that makes 50 times 12. What's that, $600? I only got $200 from the government on my Social Security. Now, where, for all of us older folks, do you expect us to get that money to pay for that when your utilities have gone up and everything has gone up? I think that for your senior citizens and people that are just, you know, at 82, I don't think I should have to go out and get another job just to pay for my water and sewer in this town. So I think you ought to think about what you're doing. Do we need to keep putting it up so fast? That's just my comment.
$60, that's more than mine.
thank you, Linda. Anybody else?
Good point.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing. I guess in response, Linda, I understand the concern. It's not our desire to raise these rates like this, but it's a need.
But does it have to be the way you got it out?
Based on the state, based on the state payment plan, yes, it does.
They say that you have to, if you,
They give us based on the amount of money that we borrowed through the SRF. There's a payment plan that they dictate to us. And in order to make those payments, we had to raise the rates the way we did. It's
because of the loans that you got to do the work.
Yeah. Yes. It's just like if you were to go, if it's just like if you were to go buy a house, right? You would have to take out a mortgage and the bank would tell you how much you have to pay. It's the same exact thing with the SRF, the State Revolving Fund.
But do you have the ability to say that maybe more should be towards the industry and less towards the residential?
We've done that.
We've done that.
It's
We've done
moved
that.
heavily on industry.
Yeah, see, that's the one thing that we've heard consistently. I see it on social media all the time, that we, the council, have put the entire burden of this water infrastructure change, the improvements to the wastewater treatment plant and the water tower. The comments are that we've put the burden on the residents, you included. That's not true.
I know it isn't true, but I just wonder what the percents are.
So I don't remember the exact percentages, but the industrial rates were raised much higher than the residential rates. So I'll just pick a number. If we raise the residential rates by 20%, the industrial rates were raised by 30% or more. Don't quote me on those numbers, but
Yeah.
we raised the industrial rates higher than we did the residential
So
rates.
industries are making profit, Linda's not.
Well, and I have to ask a question too, Linda. I live alone like you. And mine went up 40. I'm questioning the 60. I mean,
I can answer that as different meter sizes.
different
there's-
meters, what?
Sizes,
Different meter sizes?
Yeah.
so you have a older meter, where Linda has a newer meter, so the sizes and the minimums are different. And that's what happened.
Oh, then I don't want a newer meter.
Yeah, so if you look at the.
Mine old.
These are your meter sizes,
Yeah, but
5/8 to 3/4, 1 inch, 1 1/4,
I
6.
think mine was put in the same time hers.
You
Maybe
have
not.
a 3/4.
Yeah.
Linda has a 1 inch.
Soon to be a 3.
Oh, she's got a 1 inch? Okay, that makes a difference. Okay.
It isn't? It says
Just
inside
the one
from
that-
9133, that's how much I pay. Right, that's just, you're seeing one charge right there, that's, I don't know if that's sewer or water,
That's sewer.
so you're only seeing sewer right there, you have a one.
I got the little one, I guess.
Yes, you have a little one.
The other thing, just remember that before we do these increases, we have Baker Tilly come in and do a study. We only increase what's necessary, not necessarily. So we have the next one is May 1 of 2026. We'll actually take a look at this again before that. We may not have to do that. So we're only doing what's necessary to meet the SRF requirements.
Yeah.
And to note, this hadn't been done for years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So unfortunately, it's kind of hitting all at once instead of slowly over time.
Or sewer.
yeah.
But
So-
years ago, you didn't have the loan that you have now.
No, but
Right.
regardless of the loan, it should be considered that everything needs to be maintained.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah, and we hadn't done, I mean,
it's, I'll go back to
we hadn't
the,
done raises for years and years.
I'll go back to the analogy I gave with the mortgage. So let's say you bought your house 30 years ago. And you had a mortgage, you paid it, and now you paid off your mortgage. You don't have a mortgage payment. If you bought that house 30 years ago and didn't do any maintenance whatsoever, or very minimal to your house, your windows would need replaced, your shingles would need replaced, your garage doors may need to be replaced.
Roof.
Yeah, the shingles,
Oh,
siding,
I had shingles.
all these things that you have on your house, if you don't maintain them over the years, all of a sudden, you get hit with, now I've gotta spend $200,000 on my house to fix everything. That's what's happening with our treatment plant. It's so old and we've been limping along. I mean, Tim will tell you, he's held things together with chicken wire and duct tape. So it's gonna take a lot of money to replace that system. So that's unfortunately, it all comes at one time.
And that's because maintenance wasn't done for many, many years.
Yeah.
You know, when somebody doesn't wanna have to spend the money to do it, they
And-
just go wrong.
Yeah, and
Period.
the fact is, everything costs more nowadays. It's just, I mean, if we would have done the replacement of the treatment plant 10 years ago,
Oh, yes.
the cost probably would have been half. But that's not the case nowadays. Everything, inflation has just hit everything hard. I mean,
Older.
Okay.
how many people like their,
Cost with more money.
how many people liked their NIPSCO bill last month? I know I didn't.
Well, and plus Bristol doesn't have to pay for trash pickup either. I mean, Bristol
Right.
pays for our
Right, the
trash
town pays
pickup,
for
where
it.
most towns charge their customers
So, I
on
mean,
their
that's,
water bill.
I hope that helps explain a little bit of it, Linda. It's not,
Understand all that.
Yeah.
Y'all in there.
I know,
It's nothing we want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What we have to do.
absolutely nothing we want to do.
yeah,
They all pay water bill too.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
did we vote on this
We
thing?
didn't vote on it yet. Any further discussion?
No.
Okay,
No,
Doug DeSmith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
yes,
Greg Dolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beechey, yes, motion carries.
okay.
Okay. Anything else, Alex?
The other item, that I have,
Codification.
yeah, to invite a brief discussion on, codification, the codification process and what that all entails. Without getting too academic in it, but to give you maybe an introduction to the idea, I'm happy to answer any questions that come from it. So the process we've gone through here, for any of the ordinances that the council has adopted this evening, Indiana law provides that when an ordinance is before a town council, it generally becomes effective upon its execution by the executive. So Jeff is the executive of the council. Upon his signature and Kathy's attestation as clerk treasurer, it becomes the law of the town. Now, there are some qualifiers to that. There are some types of ordinances that address certain subject matters that require additional steps. So a good example would be an ordinance that prescribes a penalty. So the town adopts an ordinance for jaywalking and the fine is $25. Well, that requires an additional notice above and beyond just adopting it. Let's say, now, those ordinances require that additional notice that can be accomplished a couple of different ways. What many municipalities do, and what the town is in the process of doing, is having its code of ordinances hosted electronically so that it's published online, available through a simple URL, Google search, and the whole code as it exists on the day that you find it, is there and updated. That would be one that's the way municipalities are doing it now, and that's a product that hopefully should be delivered here for near final approval by the end of the month, is last we heard. So that process is well underway. Historically, what the code refers to is a book of ordinances. And Kathy, you mentioned that you've got a bound book of ordinances from 1997 or something that existed, the code as it existed at that time.
No, they're black.
Dark, I've got one of those.
Yeah.
So that's it's a means of publication, is what that book represents. And the state legislature generally wants ordinances, the code of ordinances to be available to the public because, of course, these are the rules that govern the town and the citizens in it, and you don't want to have too many steps between the citizen and the law that governs them. So that's kind of that's a little bit about the process of what codification is and how it functions. So I don't know if that helps answer some of the questions. One of the things that we had talked about, and Steve, pertains to you a bit. What happens with an ordinance that's adopted? And then when does it become effective? Who can enforce it once it's been adopted? And there's that open question of, well, then, do I have a draft ordinance in hand? Do I have an executed ordinance in hand? Where do I find the ordinance that's been executed? Questions like that. And again, it's always tough. It's kind of on a case-by-case basis because every ordinance is going to be a little different. And not all ordinances need to be codified. Like we said, codification is just a means of publication. But so a salary ordinance, for example, isn't typically something you'd find in your code of ordinances, in your bound book. It's kind of a moving target, and it's necessarily so. Some of the other provisions, sewer rates, with this year being the exception, are generally things that aren't subject to change constantly either. So I don't know if it helps to tell the council that once it's voted upon, once it's validly before you, once you've taken the action, and once it's signed, I think you can take solace in the fact that it's enacted, and at the moment you sign it is effective, unless there is some additional notice requirement that needs to be completed before it becomes effective.
Such as codification.
Codification would be one of those, yes. So the code says that if you adopt I believe this would apply to a penalty as well. If you adopt an ordinance that prescribes a penalty, traditionally you have to then publish that in the newspaper, which of course is where everybody gets their notices. you publish that in a newspaper, and then after 10 days, it becomes effective. So this is one of those things I'm talking about, that delay when it's a legal requirement.
Yeah.
Whereas if you publish it in your book, in your code of ordinances, so if you publish it on the Muni Code website, without having to take that additional, publish it in the newspaper, it becomes effective in 14 days, but just by function of it being there. So there's some nuance to the process, and at least from the legal counsel side of things, the goal is for you to know that when it's signed, when it's attested to, it becomes effective, and if there's anything additional that needs to be done, we can help handle that and ensure that is, those requirements are met.
So take, for example, the one that Steve and I were talking about, the noise ordinance, and I was gonna try to figure out, where you pulled that one up, that you saw the draft. And you said that, you couldn't do anything with it. I'm not quite sure. I wanted to get that straightened out.
Well, and just from my perspective, when, we had the ordinances that were on the town website.
Mm-hmm.
I have an old book there, and I know that some of the ordinances have been updated, and there's some additional ones in there, so I was just trying to work off the most current copy, and found out that the ones that were public, or ones that were on the website, some of them look like drafts, some were stricken out and whatever, so I wanted to make sure that we were using the correct thing, correct ordinances, and they were.
So it would be at the bottom of that ordinance, effective date, correct, or updated, or?
So the code of ordinances, yeah, the code, and the way Muni Code has it prepared is there's a historical note at that follows each code section that describes kind of where they found it and what its history is. So a lot of the code sections, you look at it and it'll say, this was part of the 99 code. And a lot of them, that's as far back as it goes. There's some that go back further, but most of them start in that 99 code, and if they've been amended subsequently, it'll identify the ordinance number that amended it, and typically the date of adoption as well, so that you can track. Much in the same way, if you were to do any legislative research and looked at a particular statute, those that codify that will have historical notes about how it's been adopted and amended over time.
So the word codification basically is just publishing. See, it sounds greater than it really needs to be, correct?
I think in effect, yeah. So keeping in mind that codification itself comes from an era where it was much more difficult, time consuming and costly to change ordinances quickly, right? So you had to, if you were to have something being codified, it was published and distributable. You had to come down and grab the code book, and it was bound, and you could take it home with you. I think there's a change in that now that you can do it electronically. So that what it means to codify something now feels a little different because you can put it on the website.
It's kind of ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of
click on that, Jeff.
Yeah, so
I can throw my
I'll
old
show you
book
what,
away.
so what happened is what was on the town website was an old PDF file. Some of them were incomplete, some of them hard to read. And when we were close to finishing codification, or what I thought was close, I just pulled that down because it was controversial. I mean, it's just hard to read. Well, then people legitimately called and said, I don't have access, et cetera, et cetera. So Alex, what's up there are the final files that we reviewed and sent. These are the documents that are under draft by codification. So those are enforceable, even though there's some that are stricken, things that are stricken are being taken out. But I would assume that this is the language that's being codified, so it's enforceable. Is that correct?
So these are, I think the one that we're looking at here.
Yeah, see, there's some here.
So we excluded some duplications, and there was other changes that were made in the codification process. But these are the final drafts that you and I reviewed. And
Yes.
These
So-
sections numbers were changed a long time ago.
Yeah, so here's my thought on that. The, I- unless, so these haven't been adopted yet. I mean, the codification, the recodification will require an act of, yeah, it'll require an act of the council to affect the recodification. So to the extent that there's changes in language here as a consequence of the work that we've done into it, those wouldn't be effective yet because they haven't come before the council for final approval and recodification. And that point being, Kathy, your point, like looking here in severability, that section 1-6, that is how it will appear in the new code. And section 10.06 is how it
Used
code as corrected. And used to is a kind of a difficult phrase because that technically is how it is.
Right.
But it hasn't been changed yet.
So it's more, instead of 10.06 used to be, it's 1.1-6 will be.
Yes.
Okay.
However, there's some value here, I hope, because 10.06 reads exactly what's there, because this hasn't changed.
That's right. Yeah,
It has
that's right.
some value, so people can look at it, and say, okay, that's what.
So let's take the noise ordinance, for example. So we changed the noise ordinance and it was approved last,
Years,
2 years ago?
2 years ago.
no,
Last
recently, because it was because of the data center.
Part of the.
Oh, that's right.
Part of the data center, so that was updated recently. Now, is that enforceable?
Yes, it's enforceable. The version, so the version that the council adopted.
Yep.
Right, that bears your signature, is attested to by the clerk treasurer, and presumably, I think is probably in a file that you've got in your office, the signed copy of it. That is enforceable. That's the version that exists there. I don't know if the version that exists in this PDF is exactly as what's there, and part of that is.
Okay.
Sort of think it is.
So,
And if it is, then.
Sort of.
okay, so that's,
Yeah, well, because there's the other thing to that point, sorry, Jeff.
No, it's okay.
The recodification as it exists here would include some of the changes that the council adopted that were sent into Unicode and incorporated into this, but the rest of it hasn't been adopted yet. Does that?
Yeah.
Make sense? So there's.
yeah,
So yes, there is, and part of this is just, it's a
The process.
It's a clunky process.
yeah.
It is.
So to that point, who is responsible for maintaining the ordinances and publishing those somewhere so Steve knows where to get them once we approve them?
So what the statute provides is that the clerk treasurer maintains, calls it a book of the signed and attested to ordinances.
Okay.
And so, which I imagine is probably a manila folder in the clerk's office that has all of the signed ordinance.
Okay.
So those are the effective ones. Those are the gospel of the ordinance as they exist.
Okay, as they change,
Correct.
or as they're created.
That's right. And then with working with Unicode, as those are adopted, the signed copy exists in the clerk treasurer's office. And then the adopted ordinance is sent from Unicode. Unicode incorporates it into what's published.
Okay,
And that's
And
when
what's
it's
sending them periodically, or if they?
Okay, I have a
So-
question. That's what she was talking about.
yeah, so then that brings my next question is when a resident comes in, Kathy, and says, I need to see this ordinance.
Well, that hasn't happened. Somebody came in to say, I need to see all of your ordinances, which
I gave them a book.
some are 100 years old,
Right.
and they're pieces of paper that we're not gonna give out to anybody. Some are in, is it an ordinance or resolution, and so
My question is the ones
the
that have been,
website will be really nice. If you can, just to give you an idea, if you type in Municode ordinances,
Yeah,
you should get a pop-up that says Municode Library, and then you'll see South Bend, Indianapolis. You can click on one of those and see what it will look like.
Didn't we pay somebody 4 or 5 years ago when?
Oh, yeah, that's
Well, you
right.
got different options.
To modify it.
There's
yeah,
Indiana
we
down
do
below.
that like every so many years.
That's who we're working with. right?
There's some publishing
City.
series.
That was years back.
This is taking,
Yeah, just click on any one of them.
Leslie
Jeff.
Kendallville.
this is taking like
Okay,
forever.
let
with
me
this
ask a
too.
question.
Yeah.
Ordinance that have been submitted to Unicode,
Unicode.
that we're supposed to get completed by the end of this month are through what date? Because whatever date you submitted them, anything since then, of course, is not going to be into it. So what was the ending date of the last adopted ordinance that went to these people? You
The
see what I'm
only,
saying?
yeah, the only thing they don't have would be the new water rate that you just approved tonight. I think they've got.
So do they have the stuff like from last month?
Oh, yeah. Well, we didn't do anything last month, really. We don't include,
There-
some of the ordinances we don't include,
Right, the ones that don't,
like spending and,
The ones that are
But you would
laws,
send
we,
it as
we
if-
send
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
We're staying current.
okay, enforceable ordinances is what
Yeah,
I'm
we are
talking about.
current.
Okay.
Okay, so we're up through current. Okay, that's just what I'm,
Well, not anymore because you just passed one tonight.
well, then get it in.
Okay, so that's a good question. That brings
When
up a
does
good
that go?
question. So we get them recodified. Kathy now has a book or online, whatever we have. Are we gonna get books? Are they gonna do books?
I think it's an option, I think.
The annual agreement said book, I want to say 5.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we can have those here. So if someone wants to come in and look at our ordinances, we could let them look at the book. They're not gonna take the book. Do you want my old book back?
No.
Okay.
I
It's,
guess.
it's outdated.
Yeah, yeah, so everything will be current. What if someone wants to come in and ask about the ordinance we just adopted? Where, how do you get that to them, Kathy?
I can make them a copy
Okay,
Mhm.
and do you have a file where we keep those, or,
in my office.
okay,
Now, are the,
If-
oh, I'm sorry.
if you're not here and somebody needs an ordinance, let's say you're on vacation for a week or
They're
two.
stand-in also, so there's Mike and Jill have access to the ordinance and resolution
Okay.
files.
That was my point. Okay, when we do this codification, are they going to send to us, the town, a database instead of hard copies?
You'll have
A
the website.
database, an electronic,
Look at this.
electronic database. Okay, that we can just go in and look them up. What about the citizens looking them up that way? Same
Like I
way,
did.
and where is it gonna be located? Where is it located?
On the website.
Okay.
It's in
Because-
it's in the data center we're building down the street here.
Too soon, too
You know
soon.
what? One of these days, you're gonna come off that. Chair. Anyway, no, what I've got okay, believe it or not, I've got a disc from 15 years ago. I've got a CD that's got all of Elkhart's ordinances on it.
Elkhart's?
Yeah, Elkhart's. Hey, I don't throw anything away. But I have Elkhart's on it, and that's what I was wondering, because, hard copies are great.
Yeah.
But in this day and age, there has to be a database somewhere that people can just go in, click on it, and look up
Right here.
anything they want.
It's right here.
Yeah, I know, but you can't do that now.
Right, because that's
Soon.
codified, yeah. Soon,
Yeah, but we've
So-
had it codified in the past, and that's why I was,
okay,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, and yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah, what was codified before, because again, I'm trying to picture what the 99 code would look like, I envision it as a bound
There
book.
was one after that.
So between an intervening one.
Yeah,
between
there was
99
one in 08 or something, yeah.
Every 2 years, we would send in.
Well, I'm not sure, but
Okay.
every
Yeah.
2 years.
It's the hope here is by digitizing everything and making it accessible, searchable
Mhm.
this way. Not only does this keep it up to date for both the town and the council and the citizens, but it reduces some of the cost of publishing, one.
Right.
It reduces that, I call it the fog of war between when you adopt something and when it becomes effective and when it gets, published in the book and when it gets over here. It streamlines that process
Yep.
so that, the ordinance that's adopted tonight is probably available. I think they update it monthly on a go forward basis.
Well, and it's available to everybody, not just a few books.
That's
Yeah.
correct. That's correct. Yeah, this is a big, to do the Muni code thing, this is a big move for the town. And it's a real step in the right direction
Okay.
to have all of the town's, ordinances available.
Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate that.
What was that legal term? Fog of war?
Fog of war, yeah, it's,
For codification?
yes, well, it's an English common law phrase.
Yeah.
Yes. We're getting kind of punchy now. Okay. Any more discussion on codification?
I happy to answer any questions.
But I appreciate you doing this because
Okay.
even since 99, it's been,
I hope it helps.
it sounds more, I hate to say important, but important than it actually is.
In a sense.
Okay.
In a sense. that's what
Okay,
really-
moving on.
Okay.
Next item, privilege of the floor, otherwise known as public comment. Would anybody like to make public comment this evening? If so, please step up to the microphone. State your name and address.
Jenny.
Denny Swartz, 51150 State Road 15, which is not in the town, but I have a question regarding the town. Does the town, i.e. the town board, the town manager, have any regulation or input or say as to what the utility companies do in the town?
You mean
In-
great
in-
rates?
In short, I mean, what are you talking about?
Well-
Work, rates,
Well,
all of it, some of it?
I've lived, worked, and been part of the town for 65 years, and you come into town from the south or come in from the town to the town from the north, and all you see is these giant, ugly poles. And it, in my opinion, it makes the town look cold and uninviting. Does the town have any regulation to the utility company saying, no, we don't want these, or you need to do something different? Do you have any say?
No.
So,
No, that's
No.
bad, that's too bad.
The utility companies have full reign to do whatever they want.
on their easement, yeah.
Okay, well.
I wish we did, Danny, because I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
I mean,
The
there's.
poles coming into town,
I mean,
I'd like to
There-
see
you
it.
voted on town signs, I think you should have made it welcome to Pole City. You know,
Well,
I mean, it's,
every place has the same issue if they have not buried cables.
it's sad,
Yeah, it is.
so, that's all, but thank you.
okay, thanks, Danny. Anybody else? Okay, if not, we'll close the public comment section and move on to town council discussion items. Doug, anything tonight?
Nothing tonight.
Dean, anything? No, sir. Kathy?
No,
Greg?
Nothing.
Okay, and I don't have anything else. So, next meeting will be August 19th. For our work session, we'll discuss the Rayburn Golf proposal and we'll review the 2026 budget. And then council meeting on the Thursday following, August 21st. So that is there a motion to adjourn.
We'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Greg, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.